Just a second ago, I was being falsely accused by classmates as a top scum man. But the next second, I became the heartthrob of all the girls in the school. Not only the class flower, department flower, and school flower are helping me solve problems. Even the principal held a commendation ceremony for me in front of the whole school, including teachers and students. Faced with this sudden honor certificate, I was completely baffled. Isn't everyone saying I'm a top scumbag? Why is the principal still praising me? It turns out that it was just now. After the principal saw the banner that Coco and her father sent to me, he also learned about my act of bravery at the internet cafe 2 days ago. How could such a morally upright classmate possibly be a top scumbag with moral corruption? Thinking of this, the principal immediately took out his phone to confirm the authenticity of the post. Who knew that at this moment, the campus forum had already changed its tone towards me. Even some girls said that if I were a scumbag, then they would like to give me 10 punches. And as more videos about me are revealed, no one would believe this in front of them. The sunny handsome big boy is a scumbag. Many female classmates even publicly confessed their love for my appearance in the post. So handsome. Love, love. How could such a sunny boy be a scumbag? You rumor mongers couldn't be more outrageous. Many girls also said they would like me even if I were a scumbag. Of course, many sensible girls said that the more excellent the boy, the more jealousy he faces. We all believe that Charles is innocent. As I read the posts, all the girls gave me unanimous praise. Even the principal is puzzled. How could this be a scumbag? Clearly, I am a popular male god, isn't it? Immediately, the principal suddenly felt a sense of mutual understanding towards me. It seems that this Charles is just like me. He is still as bright and shining as ever back in the day. Although he is the school grass, he is loved by female classmates everywhere. But also because he is too handsome, he is envied by male classmates everywhere. He is even often framed by classmates. Having a puppy love relationship, he was called to the office by the head teacher for criticism. Thinking of this, the principal immediately shed 2 lines of clear tears. Charles, my student, I understand you. Then the principal suddenly froze. Rest assured, I will definitely give you justice. How can you suffer such grievances? The principal quickly gathered all the teachers and students on the playground and held an award ceremony for me. Looking bewildered, I was called up to the stage, while the principal spoke eloquently without stopping. Students, recently, there have been rumors circulating on the campus forum about Charles. However, after my investigation, I confirmed that these are all rumors and slanders. Today, I will clear Charles's name here. Not only does he have a good demeanor, but he is also willing to help others. He has even shown great courage and selflessness multiple times without seeking recognition. What a noble soul this is. How majestic a personality. The principal handed me an honor certificate saying, "Let's learn from our classmate Charles. Let's strive to be a person who is useful to society." Upon hearing these words, the many teachers and students in the audience erupted in enthusiastic applause. They all called out to take me as an example and learn from me. I was completely confused by this. Everything was fine, but out of the blue, I ended up with an honorary certificate. And Russell in the audience was also completely baffled. We agreed that our reputation would be ruined, so how come he still ended up going on stage to receive the award certificate? Russell was getting more and more angry as he thought about it, and almost bit down on his molars. Just then, a round of applause caught Russell's attention. His girlfriend was looking at the stage with shining eyes. So handsome. At the same time, I also received a system prompt. Hannah Affinity plus 10. I had a cold smile on my lips at this moment. I only made a slight move, and already knew the limit of this sports department beauty. The school bully who once treated me like a dog. Now he can't even lift his head in front of me. Even his school flower girlfriend, after seeing me, she didn't hesitate to choose to break up with him. And the reason for all this is simply because I am faster. Just now, the principal commended me in front of all the teachers and students in the school. Hannah's affinity for me is also increasing rapidly. I thought I was just running fast, but I didn't expect that I actually have such a noble side. Russell was full of anger at this. How could he tolerate his girlfriend applauding for another man? After the awards ceremony ended, Russell found Hannah as soon as possible and said, "I hope you can give me an explanation. What does it mean that you gave Charles a round of applause like crazy?" Upon hearing this, Hannah immediately got angry and said, "Russell, are you crazy? I just simply admire Charles as a classmate. What's wrong with that?" Then she continued with bright eyes, "We are all ordinary college students. Yet Charles has quietly done so many good deeds behind the scenes. And he clearly has a talent for running. Yet he still refuses the coach's invitation to return to the track. Such a modest attitude towards fame and fortune. Such a noble and majestic character. Any girl would admire him, wouldn't she?" Upon hearing this, Russell immediately got angry. He then grabbed Hannah's wrist. "That guy Charles could never defeat me before. And he won't be able to defeat me now. Not in the future either." Upon hearing this, Hannah tearfully said, "Russell, please stop. You're hurting me." However, Russell not only did not stop his actions, but instead increased the intensity. "Charles is just a useless dog under my feet. Even if the coach likes him, so what? I will let him know this. In society, only those with wealth and power are superior. My dad can buy me a Tesla. What does Charles have?" But as soon as he finished speaking, I called from their side as I walked past, "Gerald, come pick me up quickly in the car. I prefer to keep a low profile. Don't drive an expensive car to pick me up." But before I could finish my sentence, a Rolls-Royce had already stopped by the side of the road. Then the bald man got out of the car and said obsequiously, "I'm sorry for being in a hurry. I'll make sure to pay more attention next time." Then, I was astonished when the bald man invited Russell into the Rolls-Royce with a flattering look in his eyes. He watched the exhaust as we drove away. Hannah said disappointedly, "Russell, since you don't trust me so much, let's break up." And at that moment, Russell was already petrified. He couldn't hear her words anymore. Impossible. Charles is clearly a useless simp. On the other side, Gerald and I arrived at the real estate exchange. And I didn't waste any words either. I just swiped my card and paid the remaining amount for the villa to Bald Man. After receiving the transfer, Bald Man was delighted immediately. "Smokey is really generous. I will take you back to school right away." But I directly refused and said, "I will take a taxi back myself. Your car is too conspicuous." On the way back, all I could think about was how to successfully pursue Cynthia. So I took out my phone directly, ready to ask the bald man if there was anything else to sell. And at this time, the group chat had already exploded. I saw a bald man saying in the group chat, "Smokey is really awesome. He just waved his hand and solved my financial turnover problem. He even casually gave a villa to the girl. This is such a generous gesture." Seeing him boasting extravagantly in the group chat, I immediately replied, "You're too kind. It was just a small favor." After seeing me speak in the group chat, a person with the profile picture of a luxury car immediately asked me, "Does Smokey need a sports car? I have a contact." Upon hearing this, my eyes lit up. Why didn't I think of that? I can also give Cynthia a sports car. The man bought a car for the first time for the school beauty. He scared the owner of the sports car dealership silly. You should know that his prized possession is just a Ferrari LaFerrari. But I can just say I want to buy it. A Bugatti for giving rides to others. It turns out it was just now. I was pondering how to completely conquer the school's beauty Cynthia. I received a group message. A person with a profile picture of a famous car asked me, "Does Smokey need a sports car? I have connections." Upon hearing this, I suddenly saw the light. Why didn't I think of that? I could also give Cynthia a sports car. Later, I followed the agreement. The time arrived at the man's sports car shop. At this moment, a handsome man in a suit walked up to me. "I am Harold, doing a little business at home. It's nice to meet Smokey." I was surprised to see the business card handed to me by the man. The Zhang Group is a well-known presence in our city. They are not only skilled in car manufacturing technology, but also produce enough cars each year to circle the Earth 2.5 times. Moreover, they are also involved in the shipbuilding industry. It can be said that Zhang Group is the largest enterprise in the city. And this kid is definitely a top-notch second-generation rich. So I also started chatting about business with him. "I've heard of your great reputation. To be able to run such a large car dealership at such a young age is truly admirable." Harold was instantly overjoyed by my praise. Smokey is too modest. He then personally took me to visit his car workshop. "Smokey, don't tell anyone. The luxury cars in my shop in this city are the most complete. Only what you can't think of. Nothing I don't have here." Who knows, the next second I open my mouth. I'll say I want to buy a Bugatti. Upon hearing this, Harold was stunned on the spot. "You want to buy a Bugatti? Smokey, you really love to joke. That is a top-tier sports car with a global limited production of only 20 units. Upon hearing this, I waved my hand. "So as I said, there aren't any here." I then proceeded to list the names of several top sports cars. Of course, he didn't have any of them here. At this time, Harold is sweating profusely. "Smokey, the total value of the vehicles in my small shop ranges from 2 million to 9 million. Take a look to see if there's anything you need." Upon hearing this, I turned around. "How come the cars I want are not here? Your business seems not very large." Seeing this, Harold immediately made a tough decision. It looks like he must bring out his most prized possession. "If you can buy a villa, I don't believe you can't buy a sports car." He then walked towards a sports car covered with a car cover. "Although I don't have the cars you mentioned here, I do have an expensive car." With that, he uncovered the car cover. My prized possession in the store. The next second, a brand new Ferrari LaFerrari instantly caught my eye. Although this car is not as good as the ones I mentioned before, it is considered one of the top cars in the racing world. Harold continued, looking proud. "The total price of this car is 22.5 million. Smokey, how will you respond to this?" I, on the other hand, rested my chin on my hand and pondered for a while. Although this car is not considered expensive, it should be just right as a gift for Cynthia. Otherwise, if it's too expensive, she might not easily accept it. Thinking of this, I immediately patted Harold on the shoulder. "It seems that spending over 20 million yuan on a car is already your limit. I'll take this car. Please help me deliver it to Villa River Unit 1. I then handed the black card to him as I spoke. "Go ahead and swipe the card." But at that moment, my phone suddenly rang. I saw that my roommate Walter was calling me. A heartbreaking roar came from the other end of the phone. My best buddy was double-crossed. I am very happy. Because I only need to make a move. Just by making a small move, I can make a good friend's woman kneel before him in repentance. It turns out it happened just now. I just spent over 20 million buying a Ferrari for the school beauty, only to receive the news that my good friend Walter was cheated on. And the cause of the matter can be traced back to the day of his birthday. The girlfriend said she would accompany her best friend to get her hair done. As a result, Walter waited for a long time, but his girlfriend did not return as promised. He was worried that his girlfriend went out without an umbrella. So, his good friend took an umbrella and went out to pick up his girlfriend. To his surprise, he had just arrived at the school gate when he witnessed a heart-wrenching scene. Next to a Mercedes A180, he saw his girlfriend passionately kissing a pockmarked man. This gave Walter a sense of illusion. It was them who got caught in the rain, but he ended up soaked like a drowned rat. At this moment, he finally realized that in this relationship, he was nothing but a clown. Walter became more and more angry as he spoke. Why should sincere feelings be betrayed? Is it wrong to be a simp? From now on, as long as I please enough, I will no longer be a simp but a player. However, the hurt is on him, but the pain is in my heart. Isn't this scene exactly the same as when Sandra abandoned me in the past? I tried to please her for 2.5 years. Yet, she didn't hesitate to get in the yellow-haired man's Mercedes. Thinking of this, I comforted him. Stop drinking. You've already had 8 bottles. Look on the bright side. There are plenty of good girls out there. Before I could finish my sentence, Walter turned into a simp again. Charles, is there something wrong with me? Can I still salvage the situation and win her back? Upon hearing these words, I was furious. Can you quickly help me clear my head? The one at fault is not you, it's her. Pick up your self-respect and stop being a simp. Upon hearing this, Walter staggered back a few steps. Then he knelt down on the ground. I understand the reasoning. But I just can't let go of the feelings from the past 2.5 years. I can't let her go. I sighed at his words. You just can't accept it, right? Up to now, you still think she was just being impulsive. You still believe she is a good girl, right? I said, and took out my phone to call Harold. Today, I will teach you a lesson. Let you know what it means to end up with nothing as a simp. Upon hearing this, Walter looked confused. Charles, what are you doing? Why do you want to teach me a lesson? But I told him not to worry about it. Just follow my arrangements. I will make Judith kneel before you in repentance. Immediately, I said to Harold on the other end of the phone, I want to borrow a few $1 million cars and have a few trustworthy people drive them over tomorrow. Help me make a strong presence. Upon hearing this, Harold did not waste any words either. No problem. Smokey will definitely arrange everything properly for you tomorrow. Then I saw Walter looking puzzled. He took out another cell phone from his gaze. Hello. Is this Coco? Are you free tonight? I'd like to meet you. Listen to our conversation. Walter looked surprised. Charles seems to have changed, not like before. I remembered he was a dog like me. Time quickly came to 8:30 in the evening. Coco immediately rushed into my arms as soon as she saw me. Charles has missed you so much these days. She then poured water for me, with a very attentive look on her face. This scene left all of the good brothers dumbfounded. With just one phone call, a girl who looks like an 8 out of 10 appears. Is this still the simp Charles that I know? And now it seems that Charles is the one being flattered. I then looked at Walter, who is my good brother. Upon hearing this, Coco looked puzzled. Charles, you called me out so late at night. It's not just to introduce me to your good brother, is it? However, she thought to herself, is he introducing me to his inner circle? Charles does care about me after all. At this moment, I smiled. I'm actually hoping you can help me with a great performance tomorrow. A good brother, who was just dumped by his girlfriend because he was poor in the previous second. The next second, he was driving a $1 million luxury car, taking a joyride with the campus belle. The ex-girlfriend who witnessed this scene was in disbelief. Impossible. You clearly are a dead simp. How could you possibly afford to drive a Ferrari? And what she didn't expect was that the rich guy she worked so hard to get close to turned out to be a second-generation fake. It turns out that just moments ago, he found out that his good buddy Walter was cheated on by his girlfriend. In order to make him understand the saying, a boundless sea roams with waves growing calm at last, I've decided to have Coco cooperate with me to stage a great play. At this moment, on a road, a sports car is speeding along. Inside the car are the former girlfriend of a good friend, Judith, and her new lover, the pockmarked man. Just as the two of them were chatting and laughing, a red Ferrari suddenly overtook them from behind. In the blink of an eye, the Ferrari had already raced ahead of them. Just as they were about to rear-end them, the pockmarked man hurriedly stepped on the brakes. This series of maneuvers almost caused him to crash into the greenbelt on the side. Seeing this, the pockmarked man immediately stuck his head out and angrily shouted, "Can't you drive?" But the next second, he forcibly swallowed back the following foul language. Only to see the red Ferrari, the passenger suddenly stretched out a slender jade foot. Next, Coco gracefully and elegantly stepped out of the car. The pockmarked man who saw this scene immediately spat out a mouthful of old blood. The red high heels, red bag, and hip skirt matched with this stunning face. She is simply his dream lover. Just at this moment, the driver's door of the Ferrari slowly opened. Just saw Walter holding a cigar and wearing a big gold chain appeared in front of several people. Judith was shocked beyond words at the sight. She never imagined that the owner of the Ferrari would turn out to be her ex-boyfriend. At that moment, Coco was pouting as she held Walter in her arms. "You scared me to death. I just bought a new car for you, and you almost got hit by this guy." Upon hearing this, Walter said awkwardly, "It's okay, it's okay. If this one is damaged, I can always buy you a new one." Upon hearing this, the pockmarked man also looked shocked. Could this idiot Walter actually be a hidden second-generation rich kid? Judith, on the other hand, looked incredulous. She then questioned Walter. "Stop pretending here. We have been together for 2.5 years. How could I not know about your family background? I admit that I was wrong to doubt you. But can we not ignore the facts? Is it okay for you to discuss me with your acting today?" Harold felt uneasy when he saw this scene. It seems like Smokey has been exposed by this woman. I remained calm and smiled. "It's fine. The real show is yet to come." As soon as I finished speaking, the roar of dozens of sports cars suddenly echoed throughout the entire road. In just a moment, dozens of sports cars filled the entire road. At this moment, an old man with white hair got out of the car and said, "How come you are here?" Then he looked at the pockmarked man beside him and said, "Hey, do you remember who I am?" The pockmarked man trembled and stammered out a few words. "White." Then White came up behind Judith and said, "Did this guy tell you he has a mine at home? And then claims to be studying abroad?" To tell you the truth, this guy is just a phony second-generation rich kid. He's nothing but a swindler looking to deceive people for money and sex. I didn't expect such a crude scheme. It's unbelievable that there are naive girls who fell for it. It's really laughable. And you should take a good look at yourself before criticizing others. With your looks, do you think wealthy people would be interested in you? Only my brother Walter is so foolish to be interested in you." Judith was shocked to hear this. She's rejecting a genuine rich second generation and choosing to flirt with a fake one. Isn't she just a total idiot? The rich second generation wants to send the female anchor gifts worth 10 million. But when it came time to pay, he asked me to foot the bill. I thought this would expose him. I am just pretending to be a rich kid. But in a fit of rage, I threw my own phone at him. "Just use my phone to pay. Please do not save me money." It turns out it was just now, after exposing the pockmarked man's scam of picking up girls. Judith immediately pointed at him angrily and swore loudly, "You scumbag dare to deceive me. I'll kill you now." And witnessing this scene, good friend Walter looked forlorn. The once beloved girl, now turned against another man because of money. Thinking about this, Walter didn't even look back and greeted Coco before turning around and leaving. But just as he turned around, he found that his feet couldn't move a step, only to see his ex-girlfriend Judith tearfully hugging his thighs. "Walter, I was wrong. Can you give me another chance? Don't leave me. I'm not vain, just scared of being poor." As a result, Walter directly kicked her hand away. Then he turned around and said coldly, "I tried to please you for a whole 30 months, but you chose a fake rich second generation over me. From today on, we are done. Don't contact me again." After saying that, he left without looking back, leaving Judith standing there full of remorse. And the pockmarked man on the side saw that something was wrong. He immediately turned around and tried to slip away. But the next second, he solidly bumped into my chest muscles. Where do you think you're sneaking off to? Causing my good brother so much sadness and heartache. Don't even think about leaving here without giving yourself a few hundred slaps in the face." Upon hearing this, pockmarked man didn't dare to resist. He immediately began slapping himself for a full 2.5 hours. Later, I and a bunch of rich second generation, including Harold, went to a nearby bar. After toasting, I expressed my gratitude to a group of second generation wealthy individuals. "Thanks to everyone's great help today. I'll drink this glass." At these words, White immediately started being courteous. Smokey chuckled. "Harold's friend is our friend." He then leaned toward me and whispered, "I've heard that Smokey is a big shot on the live streaming platform. I have a small favor to ask. I hope Smokey can help me out." Upon hearing this, I was puzzled. What kind of issue couldn't be resolved by this top-tier rich second generation? Upon hearing this, White rubbed his fingers. "My younger brother has a particularly liked female anchor. He wants to send her a gift. But all his pocket money from home for this month has been used up. I wonder if Smokey can help." And the other rich second generation also gave each other suspicious looks. Seeing this scene, I naturally understood their intentions. These wealthy and powerful people always like to look down on others. They probably want to see if I truly have the capability. On the side, Harold saw my expression darken. He immediately explained, "Smokey, don't take it seriously. White is just straightforward like that. You don't need to pay attention to him." Upon hearing this, I slammed my glass onto the table. It seems like it's time to teach these guys a lesson. And the others present wore expressions of amusement. "Are you going to get angry and fight now?" Who knew I would just directly unlock my phone myself? Then I threw the phone in front of him. "I happen to need to use the restroom. Just use my account to do whatever you want. Don't save money for me, or I will get angry." Having said that, I walked towards the restroom. I, who have the SIMP system, am not lacking this money at all. Right away, I unzipped my pants and started peeing. The muscular man beside me looked over with curiosity. But the next second, he seemed to have seen something unimaginable. He froze on the spot. There was also that outwardly strong but inwardly vulnerable little sparrow of his. Mine is just like the giant dragon in the sky above the 9 heavens. Seeing this muscular man, I immediately gave him a thumbs up. Now he finally understands what it means to look thin when dressed and muscular when undressed. After returning to the booth at the bar, White and others gathered there. I don't know what they were chattering about. At this moment, he was sweating profusely and staring at the phone screen. The bid has already reached 16 million. Should he continue? And a group of second-generation rich behind him shouted in excitement, "Continue. It's not like you're spending your own money." At that moment, I squeezed my way through the crowd from the outskirts and asked, "What's going on? You surrounded this place so tightly." Upon seeing me return, White immediately said excitedly, "Smokey, you're finally back. Please help the child quickly. I really don't know what to do." Upon hearing this, I took the phone and looked at it. "I've been in the bathroom for so long, and you've only spent less than 2 million. Are you so excited and trembling all over just because of this small amount of money?" Upon hearing this, the surrounding rich second-generation individuals were speechless. 2 million is considered small change. Smokey, is your family running the bank of heaven and earth or something? At this moment, White let out a long sigh of relief. I usually only spend a few $100,000 on small purchases. I wouldn't even dare to think about spending tens of millions all at once. In the time it took just now, I've already spent the money equivalent to several sports cars. But I am not very satisfied with it. You spent too little. Let me help you round it up to a whole number. Don't stop until it's less than 200 million. Upon hearing this, White turned pale with fright. He immediately grabbed my phone tightly. Smokey has had enough. It's really enough. She really doesn't deserve to receive so much money. Please revoke the supernatural power. At this time, Harold firmly held White's shoulder. Now you know how powerful Smokey is, right? Quickly raise a toast to Smokey. Consider today as satisfying your urge to be a godlike figure. Upon hearing this, White immediately raised his glass and said earnestly, Smokey, this time I am completely convinced. I hope you can overlook past grievances. From now on, I will look up to you as my leader. Seeing this, the other rich second generation also raised their glasses immediately. Smokey mighty. On the other side, several extravagantly dressed women looked curiously at the scene. That white-haired man is the young master of the white group. He actually toasted to someone else. Just then, my phone rang suddenly. I only saw the female lead, who I hadn't contacted in a long time. Mia actually sent me a message. So I stood up and said to everyone, Guys, continue on. I have something to attend to, so I'll leave first. Let's make plans for another time. And watching my departing figure, the white group was momentarily dazed. A true high roller is a true high roller. Even their back view is different from that of ordinary people. After arriving outside, Mia messaged me right away. Smokey, I've arrived. Can't wait to meet you. I, who saw the message, just let out a cold laugh. I have been hanging this girl out for so long. It's time to harvest some affinity from her. At the same time, on the airport side, Mia looked at this unfamiliar city resolutely. It's just a meeting. As long as I exude a little bit of charm. I don't care how rich you are, Smokey will become a friend in my pond. It just happened. Mia has received the final ultimatum from the company. Even if it means offering myself to him, I must make sure he is mine. After all, I refresh more times in a day than she does. The total of the top 10 list is still more than hers. Mia is confident about this. With her looks, any man in front of her will be smitten by her. I quickly make an appointment with Mia to meet at a coffee shop near the airport. At this moment, my ex-girlfriend Sandra sent me a message, asking if we could start over. Looking at this full screen of text, my mind went back to the night she broke up with me. I used to write dozens of reconciliation papers for her. But all I got was her saying, You are a good person. Now that our roles have reversed, you should walk the path I once walked thoroughly. And seeing my absent-minded appearance, Mia immediately felt unhappy. A lively beauty is right in front of you, yet you're just playing with your phone. How annoying. But the next second, she put on another face. Smokey, don't just focus on playing with your phone. Are people without phones not attractive? As she spoke, her personal information panel also appeared in front of me. What caught me off guard was her affinity towards me was actually 60 points. This resulted in her having too high of an affinity towards me, making it impossible for me to bind her as my target. Seeing this situation, I almost lost my defense. Oh damn, there's still this kind of operation. Have I wasted so much effort already? No, I need to lower this girl's affinity towards me first. Then I picked my nose and said, Mia, there are some things that it's time I told you. Actually, I am now a thoroughly poor person. I bankrupted my dad's company. I also owe the bank billions in loans. Mia, however, looked incredulous. Smokey, you better not be kidding. She didn't come all this way just to hear you say this. But I reached out and grabbed her hand directly. In fact, there is something more important today. It is whether you can refund me a part of the money I gave you earlier. Upon hearing this, Mia immediately lost her cool. She shook off my hand and said, You have no money, so why are you pretending to be a rich young master here? You keep disrespecting me. At the same time, her affinity towards me also dropped by 80 points. Mia became angrier as she spoke. She immediately took out her phone, ready to shake someone to teach me a lesson. She had a look of a green tea girl as she spoke into the phone. She said, I am being harassed by a pervert outside the airport coffee shop. Please come and save me. I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh at the sight. I've seen many real women, but it's the first time I've seen one who can reverse right and wrong and turn the tables like this. 2.5 minutes later, a blue-haired man with a cigarette in his mouth kicked open the door of the cafe. Who is this idiot without eyes who dares to flirt with my woman? Mia rushed over immediately when she saw the blue-haired man appear. You finally came. I was so scared. The blue-haired man unexpectedly passed her by, and instead, he walked straight towards me. How come you are here? What a coincidence for us to meet like this. After saying that, the blue-haired man pointed at himself. I am the Billy who toasted to you yesterday. Seeing this situation, the female anchor Mia was petrified on the spot. How could she be so polite to this guy? You should know that this Billy is a top-notch wealthy second generation with outstanding insight and abilities. Now he dares to call himself Billy in front of me. You can imagine how terrifying my identity is. Thinking about this, Mia immediately explained hesitantly. I didn't know that Smokey is actually acquainted with you. Before she could finish her words, Billy angrily slammed the table and scolded. How dare you say that Smokey is a pervert? Do you know that Smokey is my eldest brother's eldest brother? His wealth could bury your ancestors for 20 generations. Upon hearing this, Mia's eyes widened. Smokey was actually pretending to be poor, but I mistook him for a loser. At the thought of this, her face turned cold. I must make amends, even if it means offering myself to him. Mia immediately put on a pitiful look. I'm sorry, Smokey. I didn't mean it. Can you forgive me, please? As soon as she finished speaking, the system immediately sent me a prompt. Successfully bound Mia as the target. Seeing this, I narrowed my eyes. Finally, she's bound. Let's see how I can handle you. I then picked up the teacup and took a sip. That's it. You're young and naive. I was just joking with you. Upon hearing this, Mia immediately became excited. I knew that Smokey loves me the most. At the same time, her affinity towards me is also rising rapidly. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but give a cold laugh in my heart. She truly deserves to be the top female anchor with millions of fans. As long as there is money, everything is negotiable. It's a pity that I will not let you off so easily. At this time, Billy besides suddenly slammed the table in anger. I've spent millions of dollars on you, Smokey, and you just invited him for a coffee. Then he looked at me with a hospitable expression. Smokey, as the saying goes, chance encounters are better than arranged meetings. Today, Billy is hosting. I know a place with good food. Smokey, you must grace us with your presence. Upon hearing this, I naturally did not refuse. As the saying goes, if there's food, don't act like a turtle. Later on, Billy politely invited me into his car. And on the side, Mia naturally didn't miss the opportunity to interact with me. She immediately wanted to come along as well. And then on the way to the restaurant. Even though the back seat is so spacious, Mia insisted on squeezing next to me. Seeing that I was indifferent, Mia said with a grievance, Smokey, you're not still angry with me, are you? I know I was wrong. But I still ignored her, and instead took out my phone and opened a live streaming app by myself. Later, I arrived at the live streaming room of a female streamer who was rated 5 out of 10 in terms of looks. Then I slowly opened my own gift backpack. Seeing this scene, Mia looked shocked. Could it be that he is going to? Before she could think too much, I rubbed the rocket button on the backpack for a full 2.5 minutes. The beautiful anchor met with Brother Bang. She found out that Brother Bang had actually just gone bankrupt and was broke. Not only that, Brother Bang actually asked her to return all the money she made from Rocket. Upon hearing this, the female anchor exploded on the spot. She took out her phone and called a rich second generation to come beat me up. I thought I would witness myself being beaten into a pig's head. The rich second generation, on the other hand, respectfully held my hand. What are you doing here? We are really destined to meet. After saying that, the blue-haired man pointed to himself. I am Billy, the one who toasted to you yesterday. Seeing this, the female anchor Mia was petrified on the spot. How could Billy be so polite to this guy? You should know that this Billy is a top-notch second-generation wealthy son with outstanding abilities. Now, in front of me, he calls himself Billy. You can imagine how terrifying my identity is. Thinking of this, Mia immediately started to explain in a hesitant manner.